by Progressive Insurance. Selection shows yesterday. UConn, of course, once again, dominating on the women's side. Duke, the number 1 seed on the men's side. Very difficult draw. No question about that. United States wins last night. Controversial ending. A called third strike WBC. They advance now to be in the finals of the WBC, awaiting the winner. And Charles Barkley told us not to do something. And, of course, it was on our air on Inside the NBA. And here's what Charles Barkley told us not to do today.
My worst nightmare is the Lakers winning tonight, and I have to listen to all the crap on Monday on all the talk shows how the Lakers are contenders.
If they get a home court advantage, will it make them a contender?
No. If they get the 3 seed, are you telling me they wouldn't be a contender? They're in the 4 seed right now. They're not. The 3 seed.
They're not a contender.
What makes you a contender then?
Please don't let them win.
I'm going to be nail biting all night tonight because they're going to be talking about it all day Monday. Thank God I'll be in Dayton.
Said no one ever.
They did win. They've won 5 in a row. They're the 3 seed. I mean, I would never ask a question. Are the Lakers contenders?
If they can get to the Final Four, then you have to qualify them as contenders. And certainly feels like there would be a path to them doing so if LeBron James continues to defer to Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic the way that he did on Saturday night in their overtime win over the Denver Nuggets. I mean, when you have a tandem in their backcourt that can combine for 62 points, 18 assists, and 19 assists and 18 rebounds, you're doing something right. And that's the version of Austin Reaves and Luka that you got. Austin Reaves was the one that forced overtime, rebounding his own intentional miss and hitting a floater with 2 seconds to go. And then Luka, with a half a second left in overtime, hits the dagger. When you have those types of players that have that ability when it comes to shot making, you're always going to have a chance. The only question is, was LeBron James going to get in the way of that? Were you still going to have some chemistry issues when it comes to the 3 of them being able to work together on the court at the same time in the critical moments of ball games? And it feels like Saturday night's win was a little bit of a prelude to the version of the Lakers that you could see in the postseason. But I think it all comes down to the standings at the end of the season and the Lakers being able to get to that 3 seed. Because if they can, then all of a sudden you're talking about them being able to match up against an inexperienced crew in the second round. And you could see a world where the greatness of Luka, Austin Reaves, and LeBron James can get them out of a long series. So, yeah, I don't think it's off the table to dismiss the Lakers' chances of being able to get to the conference finals. Do I think they can win an NBA title? No, I don't. But do I think they can be in the NBA's Final Four? I absolutely think there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm trying to discern whether or not I'm living in recency bias based on the last 5 games. But you have been seeing a different version of the Lakers recently. They have that momentum. Earlier in the season, we thought there's no way we'd be talking about them truly in a contenders conversation. But you beat the Knicks. You go out there and you beat the Nuggets. You beat a championship caliber team. And you are seeing this team come together in a different way. You're seeing improvements defensively, which has been something that was obviously a glaring problem. I just don't know yet if this is something that I'm ready to go all in on and say that I actually think that what we've seen recently is something that they can sustain.
Yeah, I don't know that they can get out of the first round. If the first round is going to be a matchup with one of, well, obviously they're not going to have 2 teams, but Minnesota or Denver, are you picking in a 3-6 matchup? If they're up against Minnesota, are you picking them, which right now they are?
No, because Minnesota's a bad matchup. But would I pit them against the Nuggets? Yes, I would. I would pick them in a series against the Nuggets.
If the Denver Nuggets healthy lose in the first round.
Nikola Jokic ain't been healthy all season.
He still has triple-doubles every night.
Sure, yes, but he ain't been healthy all season.
I just have a hard time imagining this team that everyone wrote off the last few weeks. And it's almost like when LeBron was out, it revived the team in a weird way. And now he's come back and he dove for that loose ball, like literally dove straight, like horizontal for that loose ball. And J.J. Redick, his head coach, had this to say after the game about that big dive.
I told him after the game, I said, in 23 years of watching you play in the NBA and the 3 years I watched you play in high school, I never saw you make a full-out extension dive like that. And he said, you're right, I've never done that. It's awesome. I know he'll feel that tomorrow. But that's a winning play.
So is he playing a different role now?
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%.
What is the role as you see it as a Lakers fan?
Well, I think LeBron is being deferential to Austin Reaves and Luka and allowing them to be the guys that are primarily responsible for initiating the offense and being the guys that are playmaking. So LeBron is in a role where he's looking to be set up as opposed to being the guy that sets up others. And I think that's a huge difference. And then also taking it more personal on the defensive end. Now, I know that's hard for a guy in year, 23, for LeBron James to be diving for loose balls night in and night out. But if that's what's required for this team to go on a deep run, then I think it serves him to show that he can adjust to being in that role, because we're seeing a different version of LeBron than we've ever seen throughout his entire career. And I think him being accepting of that unlocks the best version of the Lakers. Now, I still think this is a team that has huge deficiencies on the defensive side of the court. But if Marcus Smart can play out over his skis the way that he has on the defensive end, if LeBron James can continue to adjust to this new role and the responsibilities therein, if you can continue to get DeAndre Ayton activated, then all of a sudden, as a Lakers fan, you can dream a little bit. You know, if you have a matchup in the first round against the Denver Nuggets or the Houston Rockets, then you feel good about that. If you have a second-round matchup with the San Antonio Spurs that have little to no postseason experience, you feel good about that. Mm-hmm. You know, so again, a lot of it's going to depend on how the bracket falls, but if the Lakers are locked into their 3 seed, there are a lot of good possibilities for this team. And as a fan, I feel good about not wasting a prime year of Luka Doncic, even though I know the team has some issues because of LeBron James still being on the roster.
Even though he's being deferential and sacrificing and for the greater good.
No, I'm glad that he's doing it. I still think they have a ceiling because LeBron James on the defensive end of the court, there are going to be limitations. Mm-hmm. His athleticism is not what it once was. Now, he's out there fighting. He's out there playing with a requisite level of intensity. But when you start talking about playoff basketball every other day, you wonder whether or not this guy can hold up with that style of play on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. The irony of all ironies is that everybody jokes around about Draymond's love for LeBron. Like, there's all kinds of internet memes and stuff about that. LeBron needs to play the Draymond role. In order for them to win, he's got to become the point forward, defense first, diving for loose balls. And while we saw it on Saturday, the idea of him doing that every game is almost impossible for someone of his age and his level of experience. Now, if he does it, and there's a new arc to his career, I'm not... What are you looking at me like that? I'm not getting to Jordan, if that's what you're thinking.
I'm just loving that you're having this big buildup where you're giving LeBron James credit.
No, credit. I'm saying there's no way he can do that. That's my point, is that, like, what you saw...
But what if he does? What if this continues?
How?
Even just in the immediacy of this, are you willing to give him credit for being deferential and for sacrificing in a way and for, as we just saw, diving for balls and trying to give everything he has at this stage in his career when he's not the central focus in order to bring his team together?
Sure. I want to see 10-plus rebounds, 10-plus assists, and great defense every night. I don't care if you scored a single point. You don't need to. They have guys who can do that. How is LeBron James going to play that role? That's the role the Lakers need, right? Next year, when they build this team around Luka, what they're going to find is...
What did you say he needed again?
10-plus rebounds, 10-plus assists. I don't care about the points, and I'll take that guy, whoever the best player is.
If he's the second greatest player to ever lace him up, and he was All-NBA the previous season, why would you think he doesn't have the capacity to play that role?
It's just an every night thing.
Okay.
That's difficult for anyone to do. Right? Like, take whoever you deem to be best 3-and-D wing in their prime and ask that person to do it every night, including to get to 16 wins in the playoffs. That's hard to do. And having the discipline. This is the beauty of the Draymond, Dennis Rodman role. It's having the discipline of, I don't care if I score.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part.
I don't care.
Because when you don't touch the ball, can you have the same level of energy when it comes to rebounding and defense? Now, what activates guys on the defensive end is getting the opportunity to get on offense. If I get a stop on defense, that means I can get the ball on offense and score. That's the incentive for every player at every level when it comes to most sports. So if he's not scoring because he's deferring to Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic for a prolonged period of time, can he still give you what you need in the other aspects of the game? I know he has the skill set to do it.
Of course.
But does he have the mindset, and can his body hold up? Those are the questions that have to be answered. But in the small sample size that we have over the last, 9 games, you feel good about it. The Lakers have won 5 straight and 8 of the last 9.
Well, he hasn't played in all those.
Well, I know he hasn't played in all of them, but I'm just saying there's a tremendous amount of momentum with this team, and LeBron James coming back. What's the one thing that LeBron James doesn't want to do? Interrupt the progress that the team has made, because then he looks like the bad guy.
No doubt.
So there is a certain level of motivation that he has to embrace this role, and we'll see whether or not he can do that over the course of a couple of months.
Coming up, a voluntary QB controversy that may actually be pretty smart to walk into. We'll get to that after CC tells everybody about the tournament challenge.
Filling out brackets with ESPN is free and easy.